Hi everybody. I'm back once again, and this time I'm talking about watercolor supplies, just for like the basic watercolor, not the basic, but for the beginner. Of course, there's more stuff out there. There's probably more stuff that you need to get, but for now, this is pretty much, when you're just starting out, this is just pretty much all you need. Probably even less. So right here I have a palette. This palette, when you go to the stores, to the very most, in expensive stores, this should be $3, but really it should be no more than that. You can get them for like $1 or so. So this is the palette. You put your paint in there. Your brushes. When you're just starting with watercolor, I would just get like a pack of water brushes, not necessarily the ones that the kids use for theirs, not those little really hard stiff brushes, but just basic kind of brushes, and don't spend too much money on them. But as you go along and you decide what you like, you'll know what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So and you might already know before you even start watercolor, so I would suggest not to be too concerned about the brushes just yet. Okay, so right here you have watercolor paper and cold pressed paper. There's cold pressed paper and there's hot pressed paper. Cold pressed paper has a little bit more texture and it's a little bit more expensive, and it might be a little bit more sturdy. I'm not 100% sure. But basically what's important is your paper weight. If you get, really good watercolor paper, you're going to actually be able to soak your paper under, a faucet for a few seconds. So you want to get a paper weight that's 140 pounds. Hot press or cold press should be fine. I went with cold press. This right here, this pad of watercolor paper, I haven't used it yet. But you can't feel how thick it is, but I can. It's very thick. And this is Strathmore. I probably got it from somewhere like Ben Franklin's, A.C. Moore's, Michael's. I got it from somewhere. No, I got it from a warehouse. So it probably didn't cost me so much money. These 9x12 shouldn't cost you more than, I can't imagine paying much more than 10. But you never know with stores. Okay, right here, since watercolor can get pretty messy, a lot of times you want to make sure, you want to paint something in one area and you don't want it to go to another area in your painting. So what you can get is watercolor masking fluid. This is the second one I've had. I haven't tried this one out. I have another one by, I think, Winsor Newton. And I will tell you now that if you have it like sitting for years and you don't use it, or you don't, use it all the way up, that's what I did. I didn't use mine all the way up. I don't do too much watercolor anymore. After a while, it gets to where you can't use it anymore. But it does kind of have a smell to it. It smells kind of fishy. And with these, a lot of times when you're doing your watercolor painting, you lay down the masking fluid to where you don't want paint to touch. And you can kind of just peel it off with your hands or sometimes an eraser. Okay. And paint. Here goes paint. This paint I have, it's not the best, but I've done, I used this when I was in high school, and a little bit outside of high school. This paint set cost me, it cost $9.99, and it has 18 colors in there. I've had it since 2007. And it's held up pretty well for the uses that I did. I used it a lot in high school and stuff. I got, some of the tops won't go on it anymore. But that's okay, because when it comes to watercolor, you don't have to really throw away your paints. All you have to do is add water to it, and it pretty much, you know, it becomes useful. So if you have watercolor paint and it's all dried up, just add water and it's back to normal. Okay. Also, you're going to need some artist tape, the white tape like you use to pack up boxes. I don't have a roll of it, but if you don't get the one that's listed for artists, then what you can do is you can take the tape and run it on your pants so it's not as sticky, because you don't want the tape to be too sticky to ruin your paper, your artwork. This board, it's like a big clipboard. They have clipboards bigger than this. You want to lay down your piece of paper, and you want to tape down your paper, and you can work on your drawing on this, or your painting, I mean. This right here probably cost me about $11. It's not that big. I have one that's way bigger. These can go on easels, and they're very useful. So I guess they're worth a little $11. If $11 is too much for you, it's worth it. So as you just get started out with watercolor, this shouldn't be something that costs you a lot of money to get into. Really, you probably could get everything cheaper. At the end of the day, oh, you need cups of water, of course. But at the end of the day, you just need your basic supplies. You don't even really need this at first. But this is what you need to use. There is nothing really else unless you want to do a lot of mixed media. Alright, guys, just make sure you have your cups of water. I use multiple cups of water when I'm painting. And that's it. Thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. Bye-bye.